Stone for me needs to be arranged in a manner that is representative of who I am and how I am and how I present myself to the world around me. So it's not fussy, it's as it is. It's not very dressed, it's not very worked and manicured. You don't see any of the tooling in the front. It just appears to be as it is. I do think of building with dry stone as if it's a pencil sketch, because it's just a simple line, and you add more material to the line, and if you don't like it, you take it apart and make it a different way. And it's as simple as that. It's labor, it's thought process, but it is quite straightforward. Because I'm an artist, my language and vocabulary around what stones are and how they live with us and how I live with them is different from how a geologist might. There is a living communication that's happening with me, with the team, and with the material. And then also with the land and the shape of the whole thing that we're building all together. We're making a thing that comes alive as it's being built, just like growing a baby, I guess. As it grows up, it becomes itself, and then it becomes present. So all of this wall that we're doing right now, and such, it's not going to be visible. It's underground by about 15 inches. So this is the substructure that's going to support the whole rest of the wall. So it's meant to be really durable and strong and gritty. So it's also the fun part, because it's it's the foundation. It's the core of what's happening. It's a starting point. It's the beginning. It's like it's the place where you take off. It's like the moment that it begins to rise. I do want to challenge in my life the way that things are perceived that they must be. And so working together with women is a way to bring that unlikely juxtaposition to the sculpture, that it can be built by women. It's defiant, it's proud, and it's capable, and it's not mansplained. Aside from the actual physical blood and sweat and things, we bring ourselves to it, and that energy and that spirit and that generosity and that kindness and all of the things that we work with, nurturing one another, feeding one another, singing songs at night with a guitar, all of the things, that's all part of the sculpture, and it's all sitting there, and it's all holding this space for other people to come and to feel that, and it's built with kindness. Atta girl.
Usually the first few days of it are really hard, and then kind of after it, your muscles get used to it. It's strange to think that you can move 10 tons of stone in a day. You think about something like that, and it's like, no, there's no way I could move 10 tons of stone in a day, but one rock at a time, it really isn't that overwhelming.
The line is a mathematic formula along the Fibonacci sequence patterning. So every one of the curves has a mathematical equation to what's the most pleasing. And for me, the word pulchritudinous comes to mind because it means beautiful, but it also means structurally sound, and it has this integrity that's built into it. But simply, it's pretty. So it's meant to be that, but there is a formula to how those lines are created. This kind of arch that we're building is called a simple arch. So it's a single strand of stone over the rounded sort of keyhole shape of the base of the wall that we've formed for it. For me, a stone wall, especially a dry stone wall, is a poetic expression. It's like a line sketch. It's an emotional moment. I'm showing the beauty of the stone more so than my own craftsmanship in showing the face of the stone as all worked hard and fitted and perfectly blocky. This is more of an expression of the material's nature. It's more of its enjoyment of itself. It's joie de vivre in the essence of it. On the day we built the arch, there were several people there that had never made an arch before. We had 47 degrees, and I get very cold very fast. My level of anxiety was increased by fear of my physical state of being, and also holding up all of the moving parts of the sculpture. And then there's also the arch itself. So it's not just a simple, this stone is next, and then that stone is next, and then that stone is next. There's so many pieces moving on the arch day. And then, is it lovely? Art isn't made from always this most profound moment of bliss and salvation and the angels and the heavens and everything. Art isn't made in that moment. Art is made from all the moments. It's structurally sound. It proves all of the rules that are required for stone walling. And it's beautiful. And it's this emotional expression in the moment. It's very visceral. And I think that reads just as clear as the quality of the stonework itself. So the sculptures that I build are intended to way outlast myself or my children. They're intended to be beautiful marks when the world itself changes, the landscape around them change. And these marks will be left here for future generations to find. Many of the things that I make are clocks. They tell the shortest and the longest day of the year, some of them, sometimes one or the other. But I always try and align them so that they work for that winter solstice, at least, for the shortest day of the year, so that they're always full of hope, they're always full of future, they're always full of the anticipation of next. And we laid the line of when the sun rises in the winter, it will arc 12 degrees on azimuth. And when it's high enough to pass the tree line, the sun will come through and hit the basalt. It's meant to be a discovery. It's meant to be something that you stumble upon and wonder about. And you'll find and see the fossils on the stone where we place them. You'll see the different sorts of stone that are included in the wall from different parts of the world that the students brought and tucked in. And you'll see the dendrites and the things that are included on top of the wall, which are beautiful mineral deposits. And all of these things are intended to be discovered and wondered about and make you think and ponder. I want you to question and challenge yourself, to imagine. And that's what it's about. It's just engagement and including yourself in it. So the inclusivity wasn't just, for me, it wasn't just who was making it, it was how to get the public involved and engaged in the whole sculpture. You're meant to touch it. Stone needs you to touch it. It's not marble in a museum. It's not a precious carving. It's this really tactile, earthy thing that needs attention. I don't think of myself as leaving the sculpture. I think of continuing it in another location. It's sort of a continuous line of things that rise and sink into the earth and come again in another spot. So it's the same voice.